Hey everyone, this is Christy Furio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Just a short episode on Thursdays to give you some tools and insights that will help you in your career and your business. And this episode is brought to you by somebody who is definitely out to help you in your business in the inventory and ordering process that is a part of all of our businesses, and that is ODEKO. We don't necessarily get into the business of coffee because we just love a good spreadsheet, and inventory, ordering, and all this is not the most fun thing. It's one of the main levers, though, that drives good business results. ODEKO can help make this an easy process and make it more accurate. What ODEKO does is they use artificial intelligence to put your sales data to work from your POS. They couple past sales with things like local weather and events, and the result is that it can predict exactly what your shop is going to need in the future. They have a more than 90% accuracy rate and save their customers a ton of money and time. And this is also incredibly useful for those of you who have one store and are about to get into a second store and wondering how to scale effectively. Having a system like this in place takes the pain out of that process as well. This is automated, centralized, optimized ordering for your cafe, and I really think you should try it out in your shop. So in order to try it out, go to this website, odeko.com/keys to the shop for easy, accurate, and painless ordering and inventory. odeko.com/keys to the shop. Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you about something that I think is super critical for the success of a coffee shop, your coffee shop. And this has to do with those moments in service where your staff have to make a decision that is somewhat outside the written policies. I know we all like to have a really thorough book of SOPs and checklists and a good manual. We've got episodes on that here at Keys to the Shop. I would encourage you to employ those tactics in your store for sure. But sometimes we can go overboard. Sometimes we can suffocate the life out of our cafe and out of our baristas. And especially starting there, we can suffocate the life out of our baristas by, creating an environment where people actually feel as though they are not free to make those kinds of decisions. And what I mean is this. Okay, so as an example, when somebody has a problem with a drink, are your baristas equipped with the instinct? Have you been able to develop the kind of culture where the instinct is to remake the drink? This might be as simple as just saying, hey, when a customer has a problem with a drink because of these reasons, then we remake the drink. Okay. And we do it because we love the customer and we want them to come back and we want them to have a good time. And it's worth the waste of product, quote unquote, waste, to win them over so that they'll keep coming back and buying more product and having more experiences here. It's a simple form of communication and an expression more so than communication. It's an expression of your heart to the business, through the business. So when baristas see you do this yourself and hear you communicate the heart of why it's important to do that, when they come up against that situation, they'll know exactly what to do. And even if they come up against a situation where they feel like they don't know what to do, they're going to reference those things that you did communicate. So if somebody, for example, comes back into the cafe after having bought a drip coffee to go, and they come back in with this kind of sheepish look on their face and a bunch of napkins in their hand and wet pants, you know what happened. They got a little excited about your coffee and they just spilled it all over their car. And they are coming in because they want more napkins. A perceptive barista who is been communicated to by leadership what the spirit of service is of that environment, somebody who's steeped in a culture that goes above and beyond, will see that situation and they will give them a coffee to replace the one that spilled in their car. Who among us would not feel amazing if that happened to us? And the person will try to pay for the coffee and will say, of course not, no way. And they'll be like, "Aw, you're so great." And they'll come back and they'll bring their friends and family and it'll be, it's a great time. So all that to say, that's the ideal. But when you have a staff that feel like they're in a sort of policy prison where nothing happens unless it's explicitly stated in the manual, in the SOP, in a manager approval, you got to turn 2 keys at one time for the launch codes and all this stuff. Then when they see that happen to the customer, they're going to feel, first, maybe if they have that mentality of hospitality, they're going to feel like they want to do something, but they can't, or they're just going to not have that mentality at all because it's not worth having, right? Then you're going to start to attract people to that environment, to your coffee shop, that have that attitude of, if it's not in the rules, it's not what we do. These are the statements that are in their manual. I follow them to the T because I don't want to get in trouble. When you have staff that don't want to get in trouble with you, you have to wonder why that is. Maybe it's the way that you're portraying yourself to the staff and therefore portraying the business to the staff and then the customer. It's easy to sort of squelch the fire that a barista has for service and for the industry simply by being not forward-thinking and mindful in your leadership. So my desire with this episode is to say, we need to find those moments where people exhibit that intuition of hospitality to solve a problem that's outside the box of our policies and our procedures in a way that's keeping with the spirit of the business, and reinforce it. Empower them to do it as much as you can. Give them a list of frequently asked questions and give them some possible answers. Enforce to them the idea that, hey, there are things that come up on the bar that are outside of the normal order pickup scenario where there's going to be problem-solving moments. You need to be creative. And we want to help you in your creativity so that when you make decisions, they are in the spirit of the business. And when people do that, you reinforce it by affirming them. Even if they do something that is not exactly what you would have done. I can hear it now, sort of the real quick rush to correction blowing by the affirmation. Hey, thank you so much for taking care of that. But in the future, I would prefer if you did, X, Y, and Z. Now, what are you going to remember from a conversation like that? You're going to remember that nobody really spent much time, congratulating you on your intuition and going above and beyond your job description. It was more like, I've got to protect my business from you. That's what it communicates. I've got to protect my business from you and your intuition. And here's what I would have done. You don't want a bunch of people that only do things that you would have done. You're not going to learn that way. You want people that would do things that they would do in the spirit of your business. And that's what makes the coffee shop so unique. And each coffee shop has its own culture because of the individuals that share a similar heart in varied expressions of it. So if somebody says, hey, somebody really hated their drink and they were very upset, I gave them a $10 gift card. And in your mind, you might say, oh, I kind of wish they didn't give them a $10 gift card, but then think about the fact that they were so enthusiastic about their course of action, you can affirm what they did and let it lie for a second. Let it sit for a day, okay? Then later on, maybe a day later, come up with a solution for them that will reinforce the fact that you're happy that they took in the initiative and that you are coming alongside to help, make this a process of creating a solution and not protecting the business from their intuition. I hope all this is making sense because I really want to communicate to you that your staff have so much power to make or break somebody's experience in your store. And you, as a leader, have so much power to make or break the barista's spirit in one form or another. And when you empower them with communication and heart and example to make those kinds of decisions on behalf of the business and come alongside them to form the way that we handle those things as they come up, then you win. There's no policy manual that can predict all the stuff that you're going to deal with. Don't overwhelm people with such strict rules and strict communication and passive-aggressive compliments / critiques. Give people space to solve problems that the customers have, and you're going to see a lot of fruit from this in the form of more loyal customers, happier baristas, and a more successful business. So I hope this was helpful for you. Just one of those things that I think is part of the puzzle of that complex machine we call the cafe. Please join me next week. The main episode on Tuesdays, we're going to be having Peter Giuliano, the executive director of the Coffee Science Foundation and the chief research officer for the SCA. We're going to be talking about consumer research, and you're not going to want to miss it. I'm really excited to have Peter on the show. And thank you for joining me again today. And I will see you here next week for another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.